Hello, everyone, and welcome to our weekly call and to Freedom Mastery, our mindset community. And today, what we're going to talk about is self-talk. We're going to start there because in the beginning of the year, this is really important to start off the year with a good foundation. And if we don't have our talk, our communication, how we talk to ourselves, if we don't have a good habit set up, for that, then everything else we do in the year, including setting our goals, are going to be affected. And, we won't know which way, I think, if we don't have a strong foundation of who we're talking to ourselves, what we're talking to ourselves. What kind of person are we speaking to ourselves is very, very key. And what we're speaking to others. What are we speaking into other people's lives? What are we thinking of them? What kind of communication do we have going on in our mind about other people and conversations even sometimes that are just all assumptions. So this year, one of my real big goals is to remove assumptions, remove expectations, to really allow people to just be them. That's all I want. That's all you want. That's all we want, right? So, so self-talk. What I want to talk about, I'm going to go briefly over, because you have access to this. You go into the files, and you have access to the resources and to the I am statements. And, for self-talk, it's really important to be able to bring upon some strong affirmations for ourselves. In days of challenges and struggles, and anytime we go through trials, even during days of our strengths when we are the strongest, it's important to make a habit of using I am statements and getting a list that you're familiar with of affirmations that you can memorize and that you can call upon, like the beginning of the I ams and incantations that Melody Riva shared with me. Those are they've almost become part of me each morning. There was a time where I read them every single morning. I am, and I'll read a couple of the first statements to you. I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. I deeply and fully accept myself. I feel safe and secure in my life. I feel loved and deserving of love. I am competent, capable, and worthy. I am loving and I am loved. I am surrounded by trusting and trustworthy friends. I bring value to everyone. I am a child of God and the universe He created. I am a success. It goes on. And the cool thing is, if you don't have this, please send me a message or go into the files and you can download it. But it has a second section. Make sure you go through the first one. And then when you get to the second section, it's going to have incantations. And those are meant to be said with movement and with rhythm. And what I have found is that the next time I find myself in a rhythm or walking or doing something like that, they'll come back up to me more naturally that way too. So really, really neat to kind of pay attention to what you're doing when you're saying the incantations. And it's very valuable to get into the habit of doing these on a daily basis, because then when you're struck, right, when we are struck with emergencies and things that we can't prepare for, right, sometimes, what happens is we're able to be healthier through that. We're able to experience that in a healthier way because we know who we are, because we have affirmed who we are each day, and we've been prepared for this day, right? So get into the habit of saying the I am statements every single day this year. And what I would recommend is get a calendar like this, a monthly calendar, and each morning that you do your I am statements, write I am. And then check that off every single day. There's just no excuse not to. That it will change. You'll never be the same. You will never be the same again. I know my mentor can tell you, she knows, Melody, Robert, he's done the same thing, Robert Hollis. It changes your life. It will change everything about your life. Okay, so I am statements, affirmations, make sure you're talking to yourself, be conscious of what you say, even in your head, that doesn't come out loud. I even say things out loud, I find, to myself. Nowadays, I try to make it positive, be positive. But the key is making sure that then for the rest of the day, not a big part, portion of negativity can come in, that we don't allow that to come in and take away what we've done and what we've set up for ourselves each morning. Okay. And a lot of times in the afternoons, I do choose to do meditations again now in the afternoons, because I am in a season where I am challenged physically, and I know it and I feel it, and I know that it comes different in the afternoons, and I'd like to be prepared. So I'll do a meditation, and I'll sometimes do my I am statements again in the afternoon. For sure. So also, I would highly recommend to get a calendar that you can write weekly appointments each day, because as you're going to be growing your business, if your desire is here meeting as to be inspired or to have instruction for social media, then you're probably growing your business, or even so many of you that I've talked to that's getting your morning routine down, and you're just a dedicated spiritual ritual down, you find that flows over into business too. So it's good to be prepared and to have a plan set up for business on social media, so that we can keep it streamlined and easy, and you don't have to be on Facebook all day. That is a fact. I used to think I did, and Melody has helped me see that I do not. Through the process that we use, the step-by-step system that we use. So what I'm going to cover with you today are the 10 mind stimuli. And the reason I want to cover this, well, we've been reading this book, right? Think and Grow Rich, that we had got at the convention. And I just, decided I'm going to continue to finish it, even though I wanted to finish it by the end of last year. I'm almost there. I'm actually only have a little bit left to finish, and I'm really excited because so much is changing in my life as I'm reading this and going through this. I know that this affects people in ways that we can't really explain physically. There's more spiritual changes that happen, and mindset. My mind will just never be the same again. So the 10 mind stimuli. So basically, these are the 10 most powerful ways that our mind are stimulated. Now, most of them are positive, but there's a couple at the end that are not. And then what I find is that the more I pour into these areas, the more my mind is clear, the more it responds to our ideas and creativity and imagination. It's true. So I wanted to cover them. So they're in this book, and they're on page 263, and it is in the chapter 11. Okay. My eye is getting a little weird, feeling a little weird. So the first one is the desire for sex expression. And I just thought this was a little weird and odd the first time I remember reading this. But the truth is, we can't deny the power of a sexual expression, and how powerful and strong it is in our lives. And, whether negative or positive, I would hope it's a great positive experience for everyone now. And that being able to put that desire into other things, it's just amazing. On this chapter 11, what this talks about, it's just amazing. So if you haven't got to this chapter yet, I want to inspire you, keep reading this book, keep reading it, because even when I don't get it all, days later, sometimes I'll come into something and be like, oh, that's what that was, and I'll get it. So even though, I don't know, for me anyway, I'm not getting it all as I read it the first time, but then it comes to me later. Okay, so let's get to the next one. Number 2, because this is very powerful and super simple. Love. Number 2 is love. Love. Like, how simple is that? That we can choose at any time to raise our vibrations simply through love. Loving someone, loving our pets, loving our children, pouring love into our business, pouring love into our jobs. you know, whatever it is you do to create income, pouring love into that. Maybe it's the community you work with, the people. But love, that is powerful. And very top of the list too is number 2, love. So number 3 is a burning desire for fame, power, or financial gain, money. So a burning desire. I'm just inspired to ask myself, you know, when was the last time you had a burning desire for anything, right? We want to live our life. What happens is we end up living our life the way the number 1 is lived. That's kind of what it looks like. What I tend to see as an example, not only in my own life, but in other women that I am close with in discussing these kinds of topics. So anyway, so we're going to go back to so we're at number 4 now, another very powerful one, still more at the top of the list, music. Use music to your benefit. Number 5, friendship. Friendship, either of the same sex or opposite sex. That doesn't matter. That the gender doesn't need to be a factor is the key here. Number 6 is a mastermind alliance based upon the harmony of 2 or more people who ally themselves for spiritual or temporal advancement. So the key is based on the harmony. Like we have to be in harmony here. And you know, that's why that I do choose to grow this group slowly, and that I have so many requests in here, and that everybody is not a member, you know, because I want to make sure that there will always be harmony in here and in these calls. So thank you too, as you're listening, and if you're watching the replay, thank you so much. And I appreciate, if you have any questions, you can definitely message me and I will get back with you as soon as possible. All right, so number 7 is mutual suffering. This is key and something that took some letting down, you know, of ego and of, you know, fear, but mutual suffering, such as that experienced by people who are persecuted. Number 8 is auto-suggestion, and talking to ourselves. And again, what are we suggesting to ourselves, and the habit of talking to ourselves. Very powerful. Number 9 is fear. And then number 10 is narcotics and alcohol. And now the bottom 2 are the ones that this book has said to, you know, that these aren't the most effective, right? The ones at the bottom, fear and narcotics and alcohol. So you want to be able to be pouring who you are into these other ones, into these other areas. And I just find it fascinating that the more I do, you do begin to see results in so many areas. It's just beautiful and blessing, such a blessing. So this chapter talks about genius and the sixth sense, another topic that I thought was very interesting. But that there's, you know, hunches that we get. And I know you know what that means. You probably heard that before, hunches. But the question is where they come from. And basically, and you know, this is what I've always felt as well, God. Infinite intelligence is what this book calls it. And this is on page 265. So it goes through 4 areas of where our hunches come from. So God, or infinite intelligence. One's subconscious mind. So what is in our subconscious? From the mind of some other person. So as we meet in these masterminds, similar, somebody else's ideas can come to you later. Not necessarily right now as we're meeting, but later. Just fascinating. And then from his subconscious storehouse. And that is basically just all of the books, anything we've ever learned. Interesting. So a couple of the other things that this talked about, and this is two habits that we want to get into, and I really wanted to just cover these because they're so simple, but this really, really matters. This makes such a big difference in every single day. Every single day I live, these 2 habits make the biggest difference. So the first one is the habit of relying or listening to your still small voice. How do we listen to our still small voice? Where do we get in tune with that? We drowned out everything else, basically. So the way I found most helpful over the years is morning meditation. meditating in the morning for at least a minute, up to maybe 15 or 20. And I create more silence, kind of, it feels like, in the day, where I can hear that still small voice. And I've heard my mentors talk about the same thing. It's very, very a good habit to get into, to be able to listen to that voice. And the only way to do that is to create some time for quiet in the morning. That's pretty much it. You can do it in the afternoon again, but if you don't first start with it in the morning, it's almost harder to get there in the afternoon. Anyway, all right, so the second one is the habit of closing our eyes. And that when we close them, we would consider what is eternal in our life, right? That it wouldn't only be what we can see and touch and feel and smell and taste, but what is eternal that is valuable in our life. Let's put our minds and our hearts there this week. That's what I want to encourage and inspire in you to do. And then to be more creative. This book talks about 2 ways to be more creative, to stimulate your mind so that it is basically vibrating on a higher than average plane, and to concentrate on whatever it is, basically your perfect day, the mental picture of what you want, to concentrate on that visualization, to put your mind there over and over and over so that it starts to flash into your subconscious, basically. Fascinating. So those 2 things, being creative, and that'll lead to being more creative. It lists numerous people that have used these methods, like obviously our mentors, Melody and Robert Hollis, and Thomas Jefferson, and George Washington, and William Shakespeare, and Abraham Lincoln, and Andrew Jackson, and Oscar Wilde, and amazing, amazing people and successors. I thought this chapter was fascinating too, because it talked about how a great many men, most men, don't highly succeed before the age of 40. And I just thought that was really fascinating, because that means that we're set up for miracles. Josh Swagel, one of our mentors, he's not even 40 yet, and he's already a millionaire, multimillionaire, billionaire, I guess. Wow. Anyway, so, we know the real source of riches and the real source of money, any money, is our Creator, is a spiritual source. It is an energy. Money is an energy, just like love. Even though you can see money, it's still an energy, just like love. I love to compare those 2, because when you really grasp that, then you can feel rich, even if you might not have millions of dollars in your bank account yet. You can get on that frequency. So the next thing is, there's some ways here on how to get on that frequency, basically, and that's what I want to talk about next. And let's see. Here it is. Okay, so page 297. And we'll cover these 7 things, and then that'll be it. And that way it keeps this good, nice and short for you replay viewers. I love you so much. Okay, so the 7 major positive emotions. Now, this is how you're going to raise your vibration, raise your frequency. This is how you're going to stay happy, stay positive, feel good, not just be smiling all the time. Oh, I'm happy. Yeah. But then you're really not happy, and you just barf all over people that, try to connect with you because you're really not happy. Okay, so the emotion of desire, a desire for something. Somebody told me the other day they're just tired all the time. Someone suggested they're probably sick. And I said, no, I just think it means you're not excited. So find a desire, burning desire for something. For me, I've given and given so much now of my energy to causes locally that really inspire me, and that I can pour my heart and soul into, that motivate me to be able to get up and do the things I need to do on a daily basis. Anyway, right? Okay, so desire. The next is faith. Developing your faith. A faith in something. It doesn't have to be spiritual. The word faith is a practice. It can be developed over time in whatever subject it is, whether it's faith in your business development, faith in your family, longevity, faith in your parenthood and being able to be, you know, the parent that you want to be, whatever it is that's the faith you need to develop in, work on that, developing that. The next one is love. Love. And we just mentioned what a high vibration that is of the experience of love. So pour whatever it is of time and energy and space you can of yourself into love, just simply loving yourself and then pouring that out into the world around you. Sex, the emotion of sex. Obviously, if you're married, we want to keep it healthy, right, in your marriage. And if you're not, then, you know, you can go with your own, what you feel is right for yourself when it comes to this area. And mostly, you know, we want to stay safe and comfortable. That's the key when it comes to this topic. And this also is not always, you know, talking about the action of sex. The sexual energy is just that. It's an energy. It doesn't have to be an act or an action. Okay, so the next one is the emotion of enthusiasm. Being enthusiastic, being excited, being happy about something, you know, truly being thrilled about something. You've got to find something to be thrilled about, because otherwise you're dead meat. Like, basically, there's no thrill in you. And any group of people would want to follow someone with no excitement in them and no, you know, thrill for life and where the world, you know, how you see the world matters. If you're enthusiastic, matters. It does to people around us and how we inspire and encourage them or not. Okay, the emotion of romance. I've always said that I was a romantic, and this is a very high vibration emotion, and watching movies is a fun thing you can do in this area. Also, obviously, dating and creating movies in your own life with your partner or your husband or your boyfriends or girlfriends. Anyway, okay, the next one is hope, and always keeping that emotion of hope alive and burning. There's just no more positive, more powerful way to raise our energy than these things here, this list here. So make sure you're really, really giving time to mastering these, to using them, to putting them into action. Filling our mind with positive energy is key in anything. Anything at all. Being able to overcome and overpower negative emotion, especially. Okay, so, and the negative emotions are listed here, and you can go through those yourself as well on page 297. Make sure to do that. But you know, the biggest, most important part is keeping these high energy, high emotions active. That's what's key. So work on those, as I'm going to be working on those as well. And then I'll be reading now chapter 13 and on, and we'll meet up again on next Thursday. And I love you all so much. If you have any questions, please private message me on Facebook, or you can send me an email, rita@bitsybaby.com. And if you are still here and if you were invited to this call, if this was a guest watching, go ahead and message the person that invited you to this call. This is our weekly inspiration and instruction on, what to do, how to grow ourselves in order to then be able to grow our business. If you have any questions specifically about Facebook fan pages or groups, or growing your business on Facebook, you're welcome to send me a message. Again, though, for the business opportunity free tour, please get back to the person that invited you to this call, and you'll be able to watch that and take a look at what we're doing in this opportunity. And I love you so much, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.
Bye.